So Ari, obviously I'm glad to have you here in Medellin. We had a site visit to your Buritica project earlier. For people who are unaware, Continental Gold has over 7 million ounces of high-grade gold and silver. It's the most valuable development stage project in the country. Can you just tell investors who've never heard about the company what they should know?
Well, Tommy, first off, thanks for coming down here and making the trip.
It was a blast.
You know, it's not very rough to have to visit beautiful Medellin.
Yeah.
And Buritica being a very close helicopter ride, only 20 minutes away or 2 hours by car,
yeah,
makes it a very simple trip.
Lucky man to find such a rich mine in a place like this.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Colombia is one of the great countries of Latin America, as I'm sure you now appreciate, and have been coming down here. Our Buritica project is quite special in that it's a rare asset class in today's gold world, with a combination of both high grade and, more importantly, size and scalability. You know, as you mentioned, we just announced a new resource earlier last week. Sorry, this week, I apologize, which totaled in measured and indicated just under 3 million ounces at high grade, over 10 grams per ton gold plus silver, and over 4 million ounces of inferred, again at high grade. And the important takeaway from this is the resource is by no means done growing. We need to grow this resource from this point in order to build a proper mine plan ahead of our scheduled production in 2017. So, you know, I don't know many projects that offer this kind of scale and size with upside coming over the next year. And one of the key things I think about Continental is we're well funded today. I mean, we have just under $100 million, you know, in our U.S. dollars in our treasury, and we have ample money to continue exploring this project aggressively, while simultaneously, as you saw today, going underground. We're developing underground. Primary focus of the underground development is initially to allow us to drill and expand and improve on the resource quality, but eventually will serve as the haulage way for production.
That money that you talked about, how long do you figure that's going to last?
It will last us through this year and next year. You know, our plan is to finish off the permitting for the project, so we aim to be fully permitted by mid-2015.
Can you tell me a bit about the permitting process?
Sure. In Colombia, you need a mining license and an environmental license to produce gold. Continental Gold is in a little bit of a different position in that we operate a small mine at site and it's fully permitted. So from the environmental side, in order to permit a scale-up operation, we need to do amendments to that permit. We did an amendment in 2012 which allowed us to do the underground development that you witnessed today, build a road and some other minor items. The second and final amendment to that permit was submitted the day before Christmas of 2013, and we've been guiding mid-2015 or earlier for approval on that permit. From the mining license side, we received a brand new 30-year mining license in March of 2013. So we're finished on the federal license.
So it's the environmental part that
we're finishing off, and this portion will cover the proposed tailings, waste, water management, and surface infrastructure of the vessel.
Just Colombia for a second. Like, open pit projects don't seem to be getting permitted in this country. So do you have, you know, any insight as to the you know, the timeline for you to be permitted, being an underground operation?
Well, two things. We're guiding mid-2015. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, when you submit a permit, it's not, you can't control that timeline. It's a government requirement to fulfill that. However, the reason we selected mid-2015, that gave us a year and a half from this amendment to this final submission of the amendment to the permit, the environmental permit. And the reason we selected that date is if we don't get it by that date, it will start to impact the timeline to production. I think it's plenty of time. We have a very good rapport with the environmental agency, and we're working quite closely with them on.
And that's not lip service. Tell us a little bit about what the dialogue is ongoing with them.
You know, we're permitted at it's at the provincial level. Here they call them departments, and the Core Antioquia is the name of the agency. They have a dedicated team of specialists that they put together with their primary mission to service our Buritica project. So this is a mixture of hydrologists, engineers, geologists, and other service people alike that understand what it means to permit an environmental report. And we have open dialogue, you know, almost daily with them, including relationships with the director of the agency all the way down to lower level individuals that are pertinent in getting a permit.
So it's a sincere process. I understand from the news release you put out last week that you've come to some formalization agreement with the artisanal miners. Buritica area is very rich and high grade, and there are illegal miners. Can we just touch on that? What can you say about that?
Colombia, you know, as most people would know, Colombia is a new frontier and really offers the best chance for elephant discoveries in the Americas, given it was untouched. The reason it was untouched was from a security standpoint for many years here, and that allowed illegal mining to happen, artisanal mining to happen without much to stop it in the way, you know, of foreign investment coming in. So now there's a cleanup process happening in Colombia. Formalization is the way to go. So what that means for us is we selected 7 small-scale mining groups. We select the area within our property boundaries that they are allowed to mine. They have a depth restriction of 50 meters from surface, and most importantly, none of these groups are going to be impeding anywhere near where we plan on mining in our ore bodies.
It also indemnifies you from any of the liability.
We're totally indemnified by their actions. They will have to file their own individual environmental assessment reports, just like what we're permitting now. They'll have to do that on their own.
Right.
The government is very supportive of this, and will actually provide these groups with a consultant to help them in the process to get the permits.
So there's obviously a lot going for the company. The story's got over a 500 million market cap. You've got $100 million in cash, over 7 million ounces in the various categories. What are some of the criticisms that people have, or part of maybe the challenges?
The big one is, you know, can you permit in Colombia? You know, Colombia got off on the wrong foot from a gold standpoint because of 2 very large open pits that are extremely difficult. They're projects that likely wouldn't get permitted in any country for different reasons. But I think that's the opportunity, because Colombia does permit projects. Colombia has a huge open pit coal industry. It has one of the world's largest open pit nickel mines in production here, and there are dozens of gold mines that are permitted here. Problem with most of them, they're small scale, but these are all permitted mines with cyanide use, and the communities are comfortable. Colombia has the richest history of gold production in Latin America by far. One of the best gold museums on planet Earth in Bogota. Everyone should go see it. And there's a lot riding on our project. Obviously for us, we'd like to produce gold and be a successful story, but for Colombia, given the 2 projects that caused a stall out here, ours is moving forward rather quickly.
Now, obviously, that's the permitting side. Is there anything on the technical side, on the project side, maybe metallurgy, that you're still working through, or?
We have the normal engineering studies that need to advance. From a metallurgical standpoint, just to answer that question, we don't have too much concern because we've been producing on small scale since 1992. So we have 22 years almost now of small-scale production history. Call it a pilot plant, which demonstrates high recoveries. It's coarse-free gold in both of our vein systems at Buritica. However, the engineering studies that need to advance ahead of completing a pre-feasibility study for the project is mainly the civil earthworks component of it. We're going to build a mine, the milling proportion of a mine in a valley. The valley is the apex of 2 hillsides or mountainsides that coalesce in that valley, and with that we have gravel that we're sitting on, and there's also some water management. So these are not areas of concern, they're just areas of cost and things you need to think out and not take your time on in order to build.
Quickly, the development timeline, like what are the next steps for you over the next year or 2?
The big thing is we're going to move to an additional resource estimate next year in conjunction with a pre-feasibility study, and that will be the construction decision point. We do intend to complete a feasibility study, but we do intend to complete that feasibility study while we're already in construction with the aim of producing gold in 2017. But that pre-feasibility will have all the details of at least the main engineering points that we're addressing right now figured out and costed quite securely, and allow us to move into feasibility stage.
Okay, so for a retail investor, why should they care now? Like what could move the needle in the
because this thing's going to grow both in measured and indicated and inferred. And if you look around the world today and you look at the portfolio of every producing gold company come 2015 or 16, they all need to buy something. There are no ounces in the world right now, especially ounces that can be extracted economically at current gold prices. We're confident that our studies will show that this will happen at Buritica, and given its large scale with potentially high profitability, we think this is going to be a winning gold project.
So a takeout most likely, but
maybe we'll see. We're going to do whatever's best for the shareholders. today's environment where stocks are depressed, we're not going to sell.
Right.
We have the ability to wait and be patient on that. We're going to continue to grow. You start building ounces, and it gets to a point where it goes from rare, where we're in terms of number of ounces, to almost unheard of in this day and age. And our belief, and it is just a belief at this point, but we think we're sitting on a camp that could in time grow to 20+ million ounces of gold. There's not many camps like that globally anymore at grade, and let's continue to go on this, and the value will come from the drill and from the de-risking process.
And you're making some hires on the sustainability front and also on the mine building front in case you are ultimately responsible for putting it in
have
production.
the ability to build this mine, and we're going on the assumption that we are building it. You never build a company just for a takeout, because that's generally a bad jinx.
Right.
So we are going on the ability to build this, and we've got Mark Mosley-Williams, who you met today.
Yeah, mining engineer.
Yeah, a world-class guy in terms of an operator, and we have the team to do this. And we are ready to do
I was really blown away with the people that you have here. I don't mean to be puffing your tires, but Vic was really intelligent, and clearly he was key in finding the project for you guys.
Yeah, well, where we got fortunate with Vic Wall, who has been my partner for a long time, is that we have a deposit type that's similar to Barrick's 25+ million ounce Porgera mine in PNG in Papua New Guinea.
Except, fortunately, in a bit better location.
Well, better location, and more importantly, we're not refractory. That's a refractory system. However, that is a vein system like ours. It's being mined as a pit. They mine the veins in a pit, but there is an underground component to it. And in the early days, Porgera was a tricky project to figure out, and Vic was one of the instrumental geologists that helped recognize the big vertical potential of Porgera, and that is the key to us too, is the verticality. You were at our mountainside today. If we talked about 1,000-meter plus long vertical veins in flat topography, you would say, who cares? That's so deep. How are you going to get there? But given we're developing into the base of a mountainside where 700 meters is sitting above head or above grade, that is relevant, because it's all mineralization that could potentially be mined early in mine life.
Ari, this is all hearsay anyway, but you're a markets participant, capital markets guy. You talk to institutional investors, brokers all day long, and follow this junior resource sector closely. What do you think is a turnaround on the horizon here, or we got a bit more pain?
I think we're in 1999, 2000 right now. So I think we're gonna skid along a bottom for a while here. This is the time you start accumulating these stocks and building positions. It may turn this year. I think more next year. But like what happened in the 99-2000 market, which led to the 2001-2-3, the quality companies that were in the position of where Continental Gold is today all transacted in some type of M&A, and at the next growth phase started for the company. So this is when you accumulate, you buy the more advanced developers like ourselves, and I think you'll make very good returns in the near future.
Okay, so last word.
Last word. Everyone needs to come to Colombia. This is one of the best kept secrets of the world, and we'd love to have all of you visit our Buritica project, because it's something pretty special and unique, and will gain more notoriety as time passes.
So for more information, it's continentalgold.com.
Correct.
All right, well, thanks very much, Ari.
Thanks, Tommy.
Okay, cheers.
Nice talking.
Bye.